Why, hello there, Minnesota Vikings fans. Yeah, it's been a little bit, hasn't it? Really haven't made a whole lot of videos since the season ended, or since the draft and stuff like that. But well, I just figured, after the season ended the way it did last year, and a lot of personal stuff happening in my life, I just figured it was probably a good idea for me to just take a little bit of time off and just, kind of reevaluate where I'm at and then just, kind of rest up before the start of the 2025 sports season. So, yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and kind of talk about the Minnesota Vikings of 2025. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into it. So, yeah, I don't even really think I made a video on either the schedule or like free agency or anything like that. But well, I figured there's probably about 500 different videos of that on the internet and YouTube and various social media platforms as it is. So, yeah, I mean, if you really kind of want to watch a lot of those, go ahead. But if you're just kind of looking at my general takes, I love what we did in free agency. Probably the biggest moves being Jordan Mason, Will Fries, Ryan Kelly, and then, of course, drafting Donovan Jackson. Because if there's one thing we know, basically what kind of kiboshed the tail end of last year was, well, the interior offensive line, in which Sam Darnold. I, Again, Sam Darnold turned into the I'm seeing ghost Sam Darnold of like 2019, 2020. And, well, we all know how that ended up. So, but now Sam Darnold's in Seattle, so for that I say good luck there. And now the reins have officially been, given to J.J. McCarthy. And in my opinion, as long as J.J. McCarthy is either an average to above average quarterback, I don't see where this will really fall off the rails unless he gets injured or he shows he is not the quarterback we thought he was. But again, I don't see that happening. I mean, he has way too much of like a moxie. He has way too much swag. He has way too much to tell me otherwise that he doesn't look like he's ready for this spot. So, yeah, I mean, like I say, I'm really, really excited to see just what we have with this guy. Because, again, if you kind of pay attention to all the media and stuff like that, a lot of people will be like, well, do we really trust him to do this, to do that? Darnold did this, that, blah, 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 blah. We should have gotten Aaron Rodgers. But, and in my rebuttal, if you wanted to see Aaron Rodgers, or if you wanted to go out there and get someone like that, then why the hell did you spend the draft capital to get J.J. McCarthy in 2024 if you're never even going to have him see the light of day? You know what I mean? It really doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense to me. So let's just see what this kid can do. And I believe he's going to be very, very good for us. He's going to be, the quarterback we've been waiting for, hopefully. Hopefully this doesn't come back to bite us in the keister, but I don't think it will. Especially because he will have guys like Jefferson. He'll have guys like Addison once he eventually comes back from suspension, because I'm pretty sure he's probably going to be suspended for the first couple of games, but who knows? Maybe he gets let off, quote-unquote, easy. I don't know how I feel about that yet, but, and then Ty Felton could probably step in, be that number two. We still have Speedy Naylor for another year, who's looking to, potentially be in a contract year and this and that and the other things, so who knows? I mean, there's plenty of weapons and there's plenty of firepower on this team, including, beefing up that interior offensive line and getting a back like Jordan Mason, who we saw last year against the 49ers absolutely torch us and look pretty damn good doing it. I mean, to be fair, he is one of like 3 or 4 players that actually did a thing for the 49ers in that, you know what I mean? Like, at least until he got injured. And then we obviously didn't see a whole lot of him since then, but hey, I mean, he's young and he can get the load off of Aaron Jones, which is going to be huge for the Vikings. And then, you know, kind of going over some schedule things. Holy smokes, is that first month going to be interesting? Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do like a full-blown, you know, actual video on the full schedule, but let's just say the first month of the year is going to be very tricky. Monday night in Chicago, week 1. Week 2, Sunday night against the Falcons. Weeks 3 at home against the Bengals at a normal time, which is the noon. And then weeks 4 and 5 internationally against the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers in Dublin. And then Cleveland in England, week 5. So yeah, those first 5 games are going to be very interesting. And then the Vikings have their bye week in week 6 to kind of regroup and then go from there. Yeah, because we have Baltimore at home. We have the Eagles at home. We have Chicago at home, which everybody's predicting, you know, towards the end of the season. We have Green Bay, I think, 3 out of the last 4 weeks, or, you know, including a home game to end the season. And there's just going to be a lot of very intriguing matchups because we take on the AFC North and the NFC East. So we'll be taking on Washington at home, Philadelphia at home, as well as we'll be taking on Baltimore at home and Cincinnati at home. So yeah, I mean, those matchups alone are going to be very interesting. You know, obviously I'll just preview each individual matchup as we get there because, yes, ladies and gentlemen, your boy will be back for yet another season of previewing and reviewing Minnesota Vikings games, including probably a little bit of preseason here and there too, just kind of give my general thoughts and opinions on how I feel about some of the backup guys and stuff like that, because preseason, I mean, really isn't a massive, like, I guess, thing per se, you know, like fan-wise and stuff like that. It's obviously more for the coaches to kind of fill out the rosters, fill out their practice squads, kind of get an idea of where everybody's at. And then, yeah, we'll kind of go from there, basically. But this 2025 season is going to be very, very interesting. Yeah, figured just quick kind of jump on and give just, you know, a couple of general overall thoughts and stuff like that. And then as we get closer to the season here, because believe it or not, August 9th is the first game that the Minnesota Vikings will be playing at home against Houston for preseason week 1. And I'll be kind of curious to see if J.J. McCarthy actually plays in any of that, or if it's just going to be, you know, Sam Howell, which is another intriguing move, kind of seeing that backup quarterback position, and Brett Rippon, who, for all intents and purposes, will probably be that third-string quarterback. And then, of course, Max Brosmer has actually looked pretty good as a UDFA from the Golden Gophers, you know, Minnesota. So, I don't know. It'll just be kind of interesting just to see how all that stuff goes once training camp actually gets up and running again. And, in fact, we actually have some football here in just about a little under 2 weeks, with the Hall of Fame game on July 31st between, I want to say, the Chargers and the Lions. So, yeah, we're not that far away at all now, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be here before we know it. So. But, yeah, I just figure I'd quick kind of jump on and let you know that I'm still alive, you know, and just doing other stuff outside of just collecting jerseys. But, yeah, I just figure I'd quick kind of come on and get my general thoughts and opinions on how the Vikings have looked this offseason and stuff like that. But, again, I'll kind of dive more and more into that once the season gets going. Because, as I mentioned earlier, I will indeed be talking Vikings pre and post game, obviously previewing and reviewing each game for the 2025 season. At least as long as life and stuff like that will let me, but as far as I know for now, that shouldn't be much of an issue. But yeah, so until we meet again, this is Jacob. Have a good day.